been a few years since the last FromSoftware title, and 6 years since Dark Souls 3's epic finale that left behind a legacy of deep and challenging experiences. Since then, we've had a plethora of titles that have given their own unique take on the Souls formula. Games like Code Vein, The Surge, and Mortal Shell are strong examples of heavily influenced products. We also have games like Remnant from the Ashes and Hollow Knight that were successful in incorporating the core philosophies of Souls in different genres. FromSoftware now makes a comeback with the spiritual successor of Dark Souls in the form of Elden Ring. It is FromSoftware's most ambitious game yet, with its vast and varied debut into an open world that is matched by a staggering amount of player agency. It's easy to dismiss Elden Ring as another Dark Souls game due to so many familiar aspects, but in reality, the new core features of Elden Ring brings everything to new heights and immense depths. The new open world captures the spirit of FromSoftware's signature world building, and being thrust into a mysterious land is now more compelling than ever before. Elden Ring takes players to the Land Between, a beautiful and unforgiving land brimming with all kinds of peril, and we don't say this lightly. Dark Souls was known for its intense atmosphere and sense of danger that permeated throughout the entire gameplay experience, and it translates beautifully into FromSoftware's open world design. No longer are the faraway sights of castles and mountains mere breathtaking backdrops, but are now reachable locales of wonder and danger that can be ventured at the player's discretion. Elden Ring features a system where your initial class has less importance, which allows you to make a build that suits your way of play. You can choose to be a heavy armor-wearing knight that casts spells, or even a quick assassin type of character that uses miracles to do damage. The way you build your character is up to the player, and the game gives you enough flexibility to really make your build your own. The game includes 10 different starting classes to choose from for you to get started on your build. Some examples of these classes are the Vagabond, which serves as this game's version of the Knight class, or the Astrologer, which is a good starter for mage builds. Choosing a certain class in the beginning can help you come up with what type of character you want to go for. Traversing this world feels rewarding, as the game is designed not to hold the player's hand during exploration. The game offers the occasional clue, and there is a map players can consult to get a feel for the overall region. Sites of Grace, which is this game's version of the bonfire system of the Dark Souls series, also give vague directions to the main story, but ultimately exploration is really up to the player's wit and sense of wonder. Smart level design and proper implementation of player agency really allows venturing the Lands Between to be an organic and exciting experience. The game may be classified as open world, but this is really more of an immense take on FromSoftware's intricate level design. At the heart of all this exploration is your trusty steed, Torrent. Because the Lands Between is vast, he becomes an indispensable asset to being able to experience everything new that the game has to offer. Torrent is also an invaluable ally when encountering the many terrifying foes throughout the game world. Encounters with giants, trolls, and dragons that would have been otherwise terrifying alone are now more exciting than ever when approached in mounted combat. It's also quite surprising how the core philosophies of Dark Souls combat have also been applied to fighting on horseback, and how it emphasizes how grand and epic the scale of this game is to anything FromSoftware has done before. Another thing that sets this game apart is how the game finds ways to accommodate both beginners and veterans alike without compromising on the rewarding difficulty that made Dark Souls unique in the first place. Despite featuring what may be the most technically challenging roster of boss fights in the developer's history, the game allows players various ways to approach difficult encounters. Heck, the best part of difficult boss encounters was that you could choose to simply turn back and do something else in the open world that could potentially give you an advantage at another time. This removes the frustration of being gated by a boss while rewarding players with better gear and spells for venturing into the unknown. This is reinforced even further by the amount of flexibility players have to create a variety of different builds. Weapons still retain stat requirements to be handled competently, but the vast amount of choices players have in terms of equipment and skills known as Ashes of War means that there are always multiple approaches to take to handle any situation. Stealth is also a new feature introduced in the game, and it works surprisingly well. It is by no means a substitute for skill in combat, but is a great way to even the odds in scenarios that could potentially lead to the player being surrounded. Being able to thin out camps to even the odds is a welcome addition to Elden Ring. Players can now also summon the aid of AI companions known as Spirit Ashes in battle to tip the scales even further. Because bosses are more difficult this time around, being able to look for clever ways to dispatch these powerful adversaries with the tools players work so hard to obtain offers a new kind of gratification that this game also encourages. Most of what fans have loved about Dark Souls' uncompromising but rewarding experience are still here, but FromSoftware created a more flexible experience that allows the game to be more entertaining and less frustrating this time around. Another one of Elden Ring's big draw is its multiplayer. Like the previous Souls games, Elden Ring features both a co-op mode and a PvP mode. The game can support up to 4 players in one world, with 3 being co-op players and 1 PvP invader. Players can team up with up to 2 other players to get through areas of the game or to defeat bosses of their respective dungeons. The PvP is also a very big part of the multiplayer of Elden Ring. Here, players would go up against each other to try to defeat the other player. It is also not limited to just being 1 versus 1. Up to 3 other invaders can join the game and fight you. Since the multiplayer part of the game supports up to only 4 players per given session, you may get some handicaps depending on which side of the group you end up choosing to go for. You could end up as the one who gets invaded and will have to fight 3 others, unless you have friends with you, and then the other invading player will have to deal with the handicap. It is also worth noting that, unlike the other Souls games made by FromSoftware, multiplayer in this game is completely optional. You can pretty much go through the entire game without engaging in the invasions and co-op modes. Elden Ring is a culmination of many of FromSoftware's previous works, but more importantly, it features grand innovations to a well-beloved formula. The open world is masterfully created in a way that feels right at home with FromSoftware's signature style, and players now have the options to choose from many different tools and builds that fit their playstyle. The game is both accessible to beginners and veterans alike, and looks to become FromSoftware's best title yet. Thanks again for sticking around with us on this Game 8 Information Station journey. We would like to hear your thoughts on Elden Ring. What did you think of the game? How does it hold up to the other Souls-like titles? And are you still playing it, or have you been able to get that ever-elusive Elden Ring? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.